Do people have a right to be happy, or should they have to earn it?
In life, the whole thing.
Yeah, yeah. Do you have a right to happiness?
I know that the American dream says the pursuit of happiness, which makes no sense. Shouldn't be a pursuit, then, should it? You shouldn't have to go.
That's true, yeah.
What are you after? Oh, just some bloody happiness.
Yeah, if I could just
what you
find.
what does that mean? Is that money? Is that a family? Is that a house? Is that a bar? Is that just finding your other shoe? Hey, tell you what, actually, have you ever had a thing where like something's missing for ages and then you find that you're like, I'm so happy?
Yeah.
You've earned it, haven't you? Like, I, for example, lost my second pair of sunglasses.
Oh, Jesus.
And I was freaking out just looking for it. And then I found them, and then I thought, I'm so happy.
But that's right. Like, that's actually that's a core element to the question. Because if you want to, this is gonna sound super Jordan Peterson-y, right? Do people have a right to be happy, or should they have to earn it? If you ask Jordan Peterson that, he would reply with, it depends on what you mean by happiness, and it also depends on what you mean by earn.
Now that I've had my beard grown, I'm doing him like as if he's a crackhead.
It's actually hard to do his accent. You have to get into the like. Well, that would depend on, because
that's not what I said.
Yeah. Well, no, he always just brings in some random shit into the conversation that like you're just not ready for at all. Like, well, you know, it's like C.S. Lewis said in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. You know, there's Narnia is there, and you can't just access it. You have to earn it. You've got to go out there and earn it. And you can say, well, it's in the books that the person ends up there. Yeah, fine. But what is your like? That's what he's like, and it's just. Yeah.
I take my cues on that situation from the lovely philosopher Slavoj Žižek.
Oh yes.
And this gentleman, the great one, and I love the way he talks. I love the way that he scratches his nose every 2 seconds and he talks like this.
Love the way he said Sam Harris deserves to die. That's literally a thing that he said. Yes.
Fucking hell. Okay. No, he basically put it in one of his little quick videos that I saw. He basically argued that you are seldom happy even if you are doing what makes you happy. And this sounds like very contradicting. I mean, this is what I got from it. Maybe it's not correct, but for example, if I want to write a novel, a story, whatever, the process of writing will be fucking stressful. It'll be horrible. It'll be days where I don't feel like I can think anything, and it's frustrating. There'll be times where I'm like typing away and I'm like, yeah, I'm in the zone, but I'm not happy either one. Like, there'll be times where I've written 2 words, I'm like, doesn't make any sense. Like, the finished product will make me happy, but the process does not make me happy at all. So but you take that to something else, like, for example, I don't know, playing a video game. That should make you happy almost from the outset, because that's entertainment. It's like, why are you doing it? If you're frustratedly playing a game, what's the point? But I don't.
A lot of people do that anyway.
Yeah, swearing at 12-year-olds on Fortnite.
Yeah.
Fuck off. But I don't know. Like, I'm trying to apply it to like more, because obviously with these sort of things, it kind of goes too wild. But I want to kind of ground it up a little bit and kind of, I don't know, add context to it. But both of those things I just said, it's like, yeah, you complete a book and you're like, I'm so fucking happy. Like, I did this, I set this to do this today, and now I've done it, and I'm knackered, and it might be shit, but at least I put myself, and I'm happy that I did it. Now, you haven't fought, I mean, because it's a self-endeavored thing, you haven't really gone, if I write this book, I'll be happy. You're just wanting to write a book, and at the end, like, I just hope that I'm happy. So it's, I don't know, dude. It's hard because I don't think anyone has. What was the question? Sorry. Ask me that question again. No, I'm getting somewhere. Ask me that question.
Do people have a right to be happy, or should they have to earn it?
Oh, it's not either or, is it? Because
I think if you take your book example, happiness is really relative. and that's evidence in your sunglasses example and your book example. So I think that the person writing the book, depending on the type of person that they are, like a lot of people take a thing and then they hold this thing up as this monolithic symbol of happiness that they have to achieve, and once they get to that thing they'll be happy. Like for example, Trent Reznor always told himself when he was starting out that if he made it, he'd be happy. Like if he got famous and got all that money, he'd be happy. And then he got all those things and then realized, shit, this isn't actually great. So if you're writing a book and you're like, I'll be happy once I've written the book, and then when you have the book and you have the money and you've done the press tour and like your name is out there, then you're like, shit, I was actually at my happiest when I was writing the book, even though at the time I hated it, but now that's all I want and I'm stuck here in this place. And so you have to...
I don't have any real friends because I've got money and I can't trust anyone.
Yeah.
I feel like the only time I'm happy is if I'm like not doing anything now, and maybe that book that you wrote gets turned into like a really shitty film.
Yeah.
And people start giving you grief for it, and you're like, sure, you wrote the book.
Yeah, and you
Fuck
see
off.
your creation get muddied by, just bad direction and people who didn't understand the thing that you were trying to do, and as a result of that, you get like flack for it and stuff, and
So no, I don't think it should be earned every time, but I do think that you don't often get happy or feel happy if you don't do anything at all.
Yeah.
Whether it's cooking, eating, like some sort of action has to take place in order for the bit of afters to come. Like I don't think that, well, this is from personal experience, but I've never, as far as I can think of, I've never woken up and gone, I'm so happy. Like something takes place after that. It's like, I'll make a coffee now, man, I'm pretty happy with this coffee now. Actually, I feel more awake. Time to go to work. Like, it's never from your status quo. It's seldom happy.
Yeah, like a better question would be, do you deserve to be satisfied?
Yes, I think everyone does. That's a quicker one to answer, though. I think everyone does deserve to be satisfied.
Yeah, it's actually a really interesting question, because I think if you look at this through the prism of conservative and liberal in the American system, conservatives will say you should have to earn everything. I earned everything. Like my parents came here and they built themselves up from nothing to give. And then on the left, you'll have people who say, like, well, they're disadvantaged people and they deserve a shot at life just as much as everyone else. They deserve to be happy, even though they've had a really bad situation and like it's not as easy for them to work through it and stuff like that. And I think that's kind of the core. That's the core.
As in like the state would say, look, you clearly are not in a good economic position. We're gonna give you this bit of money, get you up on your feet. That sort of thing, right?
But then
that's a more liberal approach.
But in America, it's like, but we don't trust you with the money because you're gonna get drugs. So here's some food stamps, and you use these to get food, because if you're poor, we're gonna give you food, but you don't deserve anything else.
Yeah. So, but I think from that perspective, it's like maybe they'd be happier just getting a proper education, these people, as in like being the opportunity to go these places, because socioeconomic positions, you may never ever be able to go there, so you'll never be happy. So it's bizarre, because for me, like, the world is pretty fucking miserable as most of the time, right?
Life is suffering,
life can be a little bit of a journey through pain, but whenever you do get these breaks of happiness, and happiness shines through for whatever reason, like love, career, relationships, whichever you want to apply that to, having a nice meal when you're hungover, that makes me happy. Like, I don't think that any of it, put it this way, rather, I think you'd have to go through a shitty time or a rough time to fully appreciate happiness when it does happen to fall on your lap for whatever reason. Like, I think if you're happy all the time, you'd go crazy, number one. And number two, I don't think you'd be able to understand what it is that you're feeling, because you're just like, no, my status quo is complete happiness. I'm not just talking like being relatively pleased or satisfied or content. Like, I'm talking like the birds are chirping, and you're like,
elated,
yeah, it is fucking awesome, man. The birds are chirping today.
I've taken so much LSD.
Yeah, I'm so happy. But no, it's hard. It's hard to give a straight answer. That's why I suppose this is a wave of philosophizing thoughts as opposed to a yes or no. This has to go down somewhere in the middle. I do think people should mostly be asked what makes them happy.
Yeah.
Like maybe I think that's kind of nice if you know, where there's a system of government or your friends and be like, hey, what would you like to do right now that will make you happy? And by the way, no stupid answers being like, yeah, I'd love to murder someone, that will make me happy, or I'd love to just like get incredibly fucking drunk and that will make me happy. I'm talking about within reason of legality and all that. So yeah.
I don't
think
think
everyone deserves it.
I don't think I'm comfortable with the suggestion that you can earn happiness. Like, I think that kind of completely disregards how the brain works, and I think there's like a lot of people don't really have the same view of free will as I do. That like people think that like you choose a thing and you go and do it and you made that choice by yourself. I don't really think the world works like that. I think you're influenced by so many other factors, and they basically create these things in your brain that make you go and do stuff. But like, should you have to earn happiness? Is like, so like, has Jeff Bezos earned happiness when his happiness and his success has come like at the cost of so many others' unhappiness? Namely, you know, the people who are working fucking overtime, and people who don't get paid for their piss breaks, who work in his warehouses, and like, you know, those people that even though they're putting in 20-hour shifts in Amazon warehouses, they still can't afford to put food on the table and stuff like that. So Jeff Bezos would be held up as this incredibly hard-working guy who's a billionaire. He's worked his way up to the richest man in the world. He's going to start building fucking space stations now. Him and Elon Musk are going to have their own privatized space race and all this stuff. And that's great for him. Terrific success. But, like, clearly, in order for him to be happy, other people at this point in time are being unhappy. So
by its very definition, if you have loads of money and if you've worked in the corporate system, the whole setup is set up like a fucking pyramid, which means that like you will have to step on people, you will have to be cutthroat in certain situations because the bottom line is what's important. And by the way, even though I'm sure you've seen that picture of him when he sat by his little computer in like '99 or something.
I actually haven't. I actually
look
know very little about the man.
It's a really famous picture. It's like when he first launched Amazon. I think it's the years of '99. It's got like a little desk in an office, and it's just says Amazon in like shitty fucking Comic Sans font, and it's just him, literally like the only employee of the company was his fucking computer, basically him, a man in office, and he set himself out, and he probably thought, you know, I'm going to make this global. I've got this vision to make this website where you can get anything to anywhere at any point ever. And he went on to achieve that, because presumably he wasn't just like, I'm not done. There's always something else. But by that definition, if the happiness was earned through either the amount of success that he had or the amount of money that he made, he would be literally the happiest man on earth, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Like, this dude would just be beaming with fucking glee. He'd reached the point of like beyond zen, where he's just like, I'm just so happy. Everything, like, he's walking down the street, bird shits on his head, he's like, oh, I'm so happy. Oh well.
I am at one with this universe.
Yeah, that was gonna happen anyways, whether I liked to or not. So, so you could argue and say, look, he's probably earned his way to be happy. He probably deserves a chill life, even though he does all this fucked up shit to get there. But I don't think most CEOs and people of that stretch, they don't strike me as like the happiest people.
That's the thing. Like, what I really don't understand about these fucking people, right? Is like fucking, you know, when the Lehman Brothers went bust, the Lehman Brothers, whatever they are, when they went bust back in like the crash in like 2011 or something like that. Like, what the fuck were they doing still in business? Like, if you've made $1 billion, if you've made fucking 10 million or 100 million or whatever it is, like, what are you still doing there, doing that?
Never get that. I never got that, like, ever.
I think it's because I just can't relate to somebody who has a passion for corporate finance that much. Even, like, I work in corporate finance.
For that long as well.
Yeah.
Because none of these fuckers leave. They either die, or they start taking, like, little advisory roles.
Yeah.
And it's like,
or they move up to, like, like non-executive directors and stuff like that. Like, it's just, I don't, like, what are they doing? I just don't get how they haven't sold up when it's in the long run, on a long enough timeline. Everything is a losing game. Like, you know, all the empires fall, all the businesses go bust. Like, everything is just fucking temporary, you know? Like, well, you know,
here's an example. We do, obviously, we talk about Vince McMahon and the other wrestling podcasts that we do, and obviously Vince's vision was to be like, I want to be the biggest wrestling company in the history of, like, the entire planet. I want everyone to know who we are. I want to be global. And you could argue that only now he's achieved that, and he's going to be phasing himself out pretty soon.
Yeah.
Like, he set out to do it. He did it. Like, because obviously, you know, they went through the 90s where it was popular, and then there was a downturn in the 2000s, and then now we saw the Fox deal. $1 billion. $1 billion over 5 years, and in 2020 he's going to launch his own football. I'm talking American Football League, the XFL launching it back.
Yeah.
Like that might be shit, but like that signifies that he's just like, well, hang on a minute, I've just done it. I've just took this industry that was like pretty much below or on par with porn in terms of acting, anyways.
Yeah,
I've taken it to be like,
or even worse, like fucking like it's a circus, carnival show,
like for rednecks and hillbillies, and he's taking it from the fucking gymnasiums in the backwoods of, you know,
Utah.
Utah of Saint fucking Alabamasville, and he's made it like as close to the mainstream as it's ever been at any point right now, either through, like, you know, Rock and those sorts of people, but like, so he's achieved that, but I don't know if that's brought him internal happiness, or if he was just so driven that he was just like, I have to get there, I have to get there.
I think he's only happy when he's laughing at little people.
Having a go at men for having Bell's palsy and shit like that. That's what makes him. See, that's what I mean. Has he earned the right? Okay, has he earned the right to laugh at people like that?
No.
To put his announcers in segments.
It's weird, yeah. It's so like another element to this is that happiness is a spectrum, right? And Vince McMahon crashing his Porsche, he is going to be as unhappy as a single father of 5 kids who's just found out that his mortgage has been fucking foreclosed or whatever, and the bank is taking his house back off him. Like, and the two situations, obviously, one guy is marred by his privilege, and the thing that's annoying for him, the thing that's making him so upset, is that his status symbol that he got has been damaged. And the other guy, he
might move on quicker than the other guy.
Yeah. But the other guy is angry because and like similarly, that other guy may, like, all his kids may die, he may be homeless and be a heroin addict for like 5 years, and he may still experience complete elation at getting offered a job working part-time in a school cafeteria, and he may be just as happy as Vince was when he sold the rights to fucking WWE SmackDown for $1 billion. That's how the spectrum of happiness works in two separate people. They can be at the exact same peak, completely irrespective of the money involved and the circumstances involved, and that's fucked up. So like, when you take that into account, there's really no way you could possibly say you have to earn happiness, because it's completely circumstantial, and like, a lot of people are not I believe nobody's exercising free will to get where they are anyway, and I mean,
the thing about free will is that, I saw this, I can't remember where I saw this, but it was like, so we're made of like atoms and little particles, right? They behave in a very specific way. Our brain, our mind is full of that shit. How can you have free will then? Because if every part of you, every aspect of a person is set to function a very specific way.
Yeah.
Your eyes don't even have free will.
Yeah.
You look up, you look down. Your eye, you can't be like an owl where you have one eye going in each direction. Oh, you can. But you know what I mean? Generally, I'm not saying people don't have eyes that are different directions. I'm just saying that, like, you can't have one eye going to the left, seeing what's on the left, and then an eye going to the right and see what's on the right. Your head can't turn 180. Oh yeah, 180 or 360.
Yeah.
Like, so everything is like free will. even from a human, like your body, what your body can bring, it's like it's very, there's very clear limits of what you can and can't do. You can't fly. You can run, but you can't fly. You can fall, but you can't fall. I don't know. Can't levitate upwards. So, by the way, can I just to the happiness thing real quick though? What do you define happiness as? What would you see like a something, not like the dictionary definition, the state of being happy, I would know that, but like
if I said that, I would be such a cunt.
Yeah, that's like the troll answer.
Happiness to me is the state of being happy.
Yeah, it's like when people go like, oh, who would you like to be trapped with in an elevator? The lift repairman.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yes, well played, sir.
Yeah, and it's just like, yeah, that's clever, but like that's not really. That doesn't help anyone.
Yeah, you're being a bollocks there to get out of answering the fucking question. Yeah, I know a guy who would answer that, exactly that, every time, and he would mean it, and you can never fucking get the proper answer out of him.
I know someone like that as well, because it sounds like we're talking about the same person, but it's not the same person.
Yeah,
yeah, but he likes to be like, I'm the logical one of the group, and just like, he don't let his brain wander outward, you know, so he'd be like, oh, what would you do if you're stuck in an island and you can only take 3 things with you? It's like, I'll take a guide on how to build a tent, and a guide on how to build a fucking raft, and another guide on how to, I don't know, cook and eat things. And it's just like, yeah, but that's too easy to say that.
If you're gonna be that much of a prick about it, you might as well say a guy who can build a fucking barge that I can sail off to fucking.
Yeah, a guy with a helicopter pilot's license who perhaps still remembers his old friend's phone numbers, and he's got a phone, and we're gonna ring it. So, yeah.
But to go back to your question, I think happiness is a fleeting moment in time it's your brain's response to something great that's happened to you, like whether or not it's you win a bet, or the girl texts you back, or like the movie is out, you've just been to the concert, like that kind of thing. And it's something that just naturally wears off along with every other feeling, right? Because, like, if you think about it, if you flip it over and say, what is unhappiness? Like, nobody is eternally unhappy. I shouldn't say that because I'm probably eternally unhappy. But, like, nobody is, like, so miserable that they don't enjoy some aspects of their life.
Yeah,
and in
not
the same
to a
way,
10 every day.
Yeah, exactly. And in the same way, to turn it back around, nobody is, like, so happy that they enjoy every single aspect of their life. So it's just, there's no possible way that people live happily ever after. And I think a lot of, like, when we're younger, we do get taught that to the point where it definitely infiltrates your brain, and it becomes like this illusory thing that you have to chase after. And I think a lot of artists who make it, like, one of the saddest stories in rock music is the story of Lane Staley from Alice in Chains, and the fact that he like, his dad left him when he was younger, and he spent his entire life just trying to find something to fill that hole, and he sang about it, like, really emotionally. One of the best voices in the best voice in the grunge scene, in my opinion.
Well, Rooster is about his dad, isn't it?
Yeah, Rooster's about his dad working. Yeah, but then Jerry wrote a lot of the songs as well. I think the saddest song by them is Wood, because it's about a guy I think his name is Tom Wood from another band, and he died of, like, a heroin overdose, and obviously Lane went on to die of a heroin overdose as well, on Kurt Cobain's birthday, weirdly enough. But, like, Lane spent his entire life just trying to get his dad back in his life, and then when his dad did come back in his life, his dad fucking hooked him up with some heroin, and then, like, left him again, and, like, this dude just died alone and emaciated at the age of 32, and he weighed like 60 pounds or something when he was found. Like, it's just the most
And look
horrible.
who he is, and look what you'd perceive as happiness by fame and celebrity.
Like, it's like that way where, like, fucking Aaron Lennon had, like, an incident last season where it turned out that this dude was not, you know, happy, and he had, you know, probably got depression. He was probably diagnosed with some depressive disorder, and all these fucking cunts are like, oh, well, if I was on, you know, 75 grand a week, I'd be happy. It's like,
that's
my friend,
even worse.
You don't deserve to be happy.
Yeah, that's even worse, because then if you are the person with that money and you see shit like that and you're like, why am I not happy then? What's wrong with me? There's clearly something wrong with me.
Exactly.
And it just spirals you off beyond beyond the levels of confusion you're having in your head. So I think for me, right, I'll answer the question as well, I guess, is that for me, happiness is, oh man, this is fucking hard.
Happiness is not a fish that you can catch.
It's OLP.
Yes.
2003.
I think it's just 2000. No, sorry. 98, actually, that album.
The greatest year of all time.
Yeah, that's true. That is the greatest year. That's an undeniable fact. I always tout 1998 as the last time I was happy, too, so that actually it comes around and ties itself up really nicely, so that's great.
99 was great, too, but...
It was great, but it was no 98. Yeah.
I think as well, like, to be honest with you, I think you will be trying to chase consistent happiness, but it will always be a little bit further than you. And it's something that you said that's quite a good point, actually, that you, as a child, listen, everybody's got different childhoods, but the overall scheme of things, through television and through people, whether they're trying to protect you from the world, because that also is part of growing up. You should be protected from the world. You shouldn't be like, oh, by the way, there's like there's this thing called the stock market, little kid, and that shit can decide your future right now.
Yeah.
Okay. I get that, obviously, but I do think that's one of the reasons why when a lot of people reach their middle age or their 20s, like, listen, we're going to talk about ourselves both in our 20s. Let's only talk about ourselves here, because I haven't followed anybody else for their whole life. But you do get this sense of like, okay, is this it then?
Yeah, totally. I think from like 25 on, that's when it starts to hit you. Like, shit, like, this isn't what I thought at all.
Yeah. So it's just this times 52 weeks of the year times X amount of years until I'm like retired, and that's it.
Yeah.
So, whereas I think the difference there is, whereas the illusion either through education or school or family or television, so there's a lot of influences at play here, so no wonder, or gaming or whatever, is that if you work hard enough, you get to do what you want. But what you later find out is you have to work hard enough, and then you have to go and make it happen by yourself.
Yeah.
And that's the bit that's really hard. Really, I mean, listen, there's people position of privilege and position of having more networking in situations to do exactly what they want to do as quickly as they can. But majority of the time, a lot of people that I know and a lot of people that I've met who have ever done anything of like recognition of like slight success, like they've had to fucking work for it.
Yeah.
Hard too. And that's the bit they kind of don't prepare you for. But having said that, I don't know if you should be, being told, life's hard, get used to it. So, but I think there should be someone that maybe there should be like these counselors that you meet, every time everyone reaches their 20s, they kind of sit you down and they go, I'm sorry to tell you that it's going to be really hard from now on. But you can make it. It's just going to be very hard.
Yeah.
And you kind of go, okay, right, I get it now, so it's going to be difficult. And then you can kind of choose whether or not you want to be, what path you want to take. But it just feels like once you reach a certain age, there's this assumption that you should know how everything works, which is also another thing is how to reach happiness. And they just kind of drop you into the world and they go, right, off you go. And you're like, okay, well, I guess I'll just work because that means money. If I can work, so I guess I'll work.
Yeah.
So you work, you go, money's in, that makes me happy. But then you're like, but everything's kind of similar. Like, my life's kind of similar. So to me, I think it's happiness. Just to answer the question before I linger on too much on all this other shit, but for me, happiness is like, A, how satisfied are you with everything in your life? B, I think for me, acts of kindness make me happy. Whether someone's kind to me or if I'm kind to someone else, if I've helped out someone else or someone else helped out me, that makes me happy.
So you mustn't feel happy very often then.
No, actually. I think I look far angrier than I actually am most of the time, but it's a whole different story. I think that's kind of happiness to me. There's no value on it. But having said that, if one of my friends was like, "Do you want 100 grand?" I'd be happy with that. I'd be very happy. It's hard. Like, it's hard. I think, I suppose happiness for me, and one simple statement, I guess, happiness would be how you feel, whether you feel good on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not talking about the whole day, but when you're
just talking about favorably out of 10, somewhere above the 5 mark every day.
Yeah, when you get up first thing in the morning, when you go to bed, like if you're happy, or maybe not in the morning, but at night. Though you might be a morning person, whatever. But at night, if you're happy when you go to bed and you're like, I've did my day, whatever, I've gotten time off, or I had a nice day, and I'm happy, and you go to sleep with nice positive thoughts, then that's half the battle right there.
Here,
Alright?
here.
I'm alright. And also, taking loads of drugs makes you happy too.
Yeah, that's true.
Heroin to the eyeball, yeah. Do you think that drugs make people happy, though?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because otherwise no one would take them, would they?
Yeah. I mean, heroin doesn't make you happy. It just makes you completely content and warm and fuzzy and just at one and at peace and all that. And, you know, ecstasy makes you very happy.
Cocaine?
I think coke... I don't know, are you happy on coke, or are you just...
Mad. Yeah, just off. But no, generally though, if drugs felt like... Okay, so if doing a bit of MDMA made people feel like their face was on fire, or if they you know when you hit your elbow and it gives you you hit your humerus and it gives you that funny pain. Yeah, the funny bone. You know that pain actually is fucking horrible.
Yeah, because it's not even like a normal pain. It's like something's gone horribly wrong inside you.
Yeah. If taking any sorts of drugs made you feel like that for an extended period of time, I don't think anybody would be taking them,
but
no
again,
matter how bad they
felt.
felt.
That's relative too, right? Because like a lot of famous people talk like, you know, say like fucking like Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, like Sam Harris has spoke quite extensively about his drug use. There's like Joe Rogan, stuff like that. It's like these people have dropped acid, they've taken like psilocybin, mushrooms, all these things. Like you never hear about the people who have to live under a bridge because they took acid 17 years ago and they still think that the marshmallows from Mars are following them around. You know what I mean? Like, so like that's also, that really depends on the like how well the links in your chain are tied together in your brain before you go and experiment, I guess, because they can enhance what's already there, or else they can pull something loose and send you into a spiral of just unfathomable paranoia and dismay and fear and stuff like that. So it's, I mean, in some circumstances, yes, drugs definitely make you happy, and in other circumstances, no, they don't.
Yeah. So again, that's another thing that's super, like, it gets so muddled up that you can't just say that, you know, one brush of the old brush it adds to everything. I could think of a fucking thing just then. Yeah. You can't just apply it for everything.
Yeah.
I think that enjoyment, fulfillment, and general feeling of positivity, I guess, is happiness to me.
There's actually a really interesting thing that I just realized when thinking about the drug thing, right? The guy who's living under the bridge because he took acid. Most people, I think, most people past a certain age bracket would say he deserves to be in that position because he took that drug and he probably knew what the consequences would be. He probably knew what he was getting himself in for. Like, that's where he deserves to be. But no one would look at Bill Gates and say, like, he deserves to, or, well, he's a bad example because he's super rich, but
you're right though. But you could say, like, look at him, he messed with acid. He deserves to be the leader of the head of fucking Windows.
No one would. Windows. But even, like, let's say a fucking guy who works in a petrol station, like, no one's gonna be like, he deserves to be happy because he took a drug that made him look at himself in such a different light, and now, like, he's at peace with everything. He feels at one with the universe. Nothing drags him down. Like, he doesn't linger on social interactions and look back on it with, like, fear and stuff like that. Like, this is a guy who took a drug that, you know, opened a door within him, and now he is really happy. No one would say he deserves that because he took the pill. So I think
No.
like the same way, man, I definitely don't think that anyone should have to earn anything.
No, nothing. At least not abstract sort of thoughts and feelings, you know.
Yeah. Well, it's
Like,
weird. Like I don't believe in the concept of pride at all. I don't think you should ever be proud of anything. Like, and I think like the LGBT pride and stuff like that. That's fair because they were previously like an oppressed group and now they're allowed to be, you know, just like everyone else, and they're treated just like everyone else. Like they're allowed to be proud about those things. It's not for me. Like I'm not a proud person. There's nothing. I'm not proud of any of the things that have randomly happened to me, you know, along the way.
yeah. Would you say you're more like pleased of being like, well, I'm glad that, say for example, no, but you can say for example, I'm glad that where I'm from, there isn't many people running around with guns. So I'm kind of proud that my government put in pleased that my government put in sanctions to stop, you know, AKs being bought from the fucking corner shop.
I'm pleased.
From that guy who's totally at peace. Because that guy who's totally at peace, he's like, yeah, I'm at peace selling you this piece. And, you know, so, yeah.
I'm pleased that we voted in gay marriage and abortion and stuff like that too, but yeah. I'm not fucking proud of those things. Like, I don't know, it's strange.
No, because but then again, stuff like that, like, stuff like basic human rights and kindness and, you know, stuff like, it's a historic moment for this place, you know, it's what we're talking about, as WWE did an event in Saudi Arabia, which we're talking about in our other podcast, Pluggy Plug, but we were just saying that they had this propaganda piece, and it was legitimate propaganda, where they're like, yeah, women can drive now.
Yeah.
And everyone else is just like, yeah, but, like, shouldn't that happen anyways, regardless of where you are? You know? Now women can go to the cinema now, and it's just like, yeah, they should do that anyways, though. So I appreciate what you're saying, that it's like, yes, things that will always move slowly forward, you know, in different paces in different countries, but it's like, you're proud of that, whereas most of us will be saying, yeah, get on with it. It's cool, taking you a little bit of time to get your hand around it. So I kind of see what you mean. I think nation pride is a far deeper topic to go into, but the basics of it is, it's like, I guess you should be proud where you come from. If you have not proud, you should be happy where you come from. There you go, happiness. If you've got like an extensive history and, you know, it's a kind place, it's a nice place, and it's got good morals, and everybody's happy and multicultural, regardless of where you're from, you're welcomed in as a brother or a sister. But it's weird because you didn't choose that. It's a lottery.
No postcode envy, as Lord would say. We're fine with this. That song is so good.
That line is far more deeper than if you say it like that, though. I didn't even think of that.
And that's what she means. We're fine with this. We didn't come from money. Like, we count our dollars on the train. Like, you know, all these people are, like, bragging about the shit that they get up to, like, with their gold chains and all of that stuff. Like, I'm fine being from a small town. And, like, you know, so
You just crack on, I guess. But honestly, I do think that if you reach total happiness by a certain point, then I don't see you being able to top that, and I see that then taking its toll on you. I think you should always have snippets of kindness just sprinkled throughout your life. More often than not, hopefully, kindness and happiness will stick through. But to live a full and uncut happy life sounds like a form of mental illness.
Yeah.
Just living a depressed... Just like the opposite, though. Just like living a depressed, unhappy life all the time, which is also a form of mental illness, or I suppose a form of whatever you're trapped into, whatever like your brain's creating to make you feel like everything's bad all the time. So, well, you know, why wouldn't it be the same the opposite way? It's like when you get emails from people and they're like, I'm more than happy to help. You're more than happy. You are not just happy. You are more than happy. That's creepy. That's weird. That's too full on.
Yeah.
Just, I'll be content to sort you out. You're not more than happy, because if you're more than happy, you are ecstatic. I am ecstatic to get you your Greg's, mate. I'll get you your best fucking Greg's you've ever had. Woo! Gonna go gritty Greg's. Yeah. So,
so in summary,
happiness is not the final destination.
Yeah.
That's my That's my summary there. Is that good? That makes sense to me.
I think so.
Yeah. I think next time we should cover if God exists, if there's life after death, can you experience... Actually, this would be a good shot for if we do this again, though. Can you truly experience anything objectively?
Ooh.
No. But why, though? That's the question. So we'll cover that.
Yeah, let's do that. All right.
Yeah, it'll be nice to hear from everyone as well, see what people make of it. Like, what do you define happiness as? What makes you happy? What do you think is the true version of happiness?
Yeah.
A nap, perhaps? Who knows?
A sausage roll, yeah.
A sausage roll that your ecstatic friend brought you because he's more than happy to get it. Yeah. No, it'd be nice to see what people make of it.
This has been a successful pilot episode. Peace to the listeners.
Yes. And to play us out, here's some wave chill.
To play us out, here's Slipknot.
Yeah, to play us out, here's something that will bring you inner peace.
I felt the air.
Yeah, it is the heaviest recordings of a little band I like to call Slippity Knot.
Slippity Knot.
What's the heaviest band that you know? Like the angriest? Because Slipknot still have some kind of melody to it, don't they?
That I know or that I listen to?
Either, both. That you know.
Like, Between the Buried and Me or like Dillinger Escape Plan, like they sound very fucking angry all the time.
Yeah. Or the Napalm Death.
Yeah. Or like Poison the Well.
Very angry, man. But there's a point though. Look how angrily they're singing. I bet they're happy doing that job sometimes.
Yeah. No, they definitely are.
Think about that. Corey Taylor is sat there screaming about, I want to... Was that one? I want to cut your wound and fuck it, or whatever the fuck he says.
I like in what fucking song is it? I think it's Sick, or is it No Life, or I don't know. But one of the lines in it is, "Suck the snot end of the tip of my prick."
He was happy when he wrote that. He's happy to perform that live.
Is that the song where it's like, all you bands suck these nuts. US bands suck these nuts. Worldwide bands.
Get this. Get this or die.
Get this or die.
Yeah. He's doing that and he's happy, yet he's angry. So, there you go. If that's not a good metaphor for this, I don't know what is.
I've been very happy at concerts screaming, like, gotta listen to your big time hardline, bad luck, fist fuck.
And you're like sweating, and there's loads of people there, and if you take the music out of that context, you'd be like, I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just screaming with a bunch of like strangers.
Or conversely, if you take all of the other people out of that, and it's just you watching Nine Inch Nails by yourself with your fist in the air. I'm gonna burn this whole world.
You'd feel embarrassed. You wouldn't do it because you'd be like, the whole band is staring straight at me.
Oh my god, I have actual anxiety thinking about that.
Like, they're all staring at me and I'm saying fist fuck at them. Yeah. And they know the words. They've written the fucking thing.
Yeah.
That would make me happy. See, it's odd. But yeah, I hope everybody enjoyed it. Yeah, please do let us know what you think of happiness, what you think happiness is. And,
Godspeed.
yes, stay happy, y'all.
Stay happy.
Stay satisfied. Peace. Hey, how's that?
That was really fucking good.
That was far better than anything we've ever done ever.